Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Terry Don Phillips and the faith he showed it in you 7 years ago?
Well, I mean, my relationship with Terry Don Phillips started as, just obviously as an assistant coach when I came to Clemson. And he gave me an opportunity to be an interim. And, one of the things that I always tell people is, because if you know Terry Don, he's not a man of many words. He doesn't say a whole lot. And but the day that he made me the interim and I went into his office, really expecting for him to just say, hey, do the best you can do and try to get the next guy to keep you or whatever. But his message to me was, hey, look, I've watched you for 5.5 years, and I think you're ready for this job. And he said, I'd love to see you get the job, but you're going to have to win some games. And he told me that for the next 7 weeks, I want you to be the head coach. I don't want you to be the interim head coach. I want you to do whatever you think you need to do to fix this, was his words, and I'm going to support you. And at the end of this, you're going to get an interview. Regardless of whether you win one or win them all, you're going to get an interview for this job. And then he said, I'm going to hire the best guy for the job. He goes, but I want you to know, I've watched you, and he said, you would be a great fit here. And so I go into the meeting with one mentality. I come out of the meeting with this empowered attitude and confidence of let's go, and just kind of embrace the opportunity. So I mean, I was really shocked by that, to be honest with you, because again, he's just kind of an old school guy, and but so I tell people all the time, just be great at whatever you're doing, because you never know who's paying attention. You never know. And then to always be ready for your opportunity. And I'm thankful that I was prepared and ready for that moment, and I had a bunch of good players that rallied around me. So forever grateful for Terry Don Phillips. I certainly wouldn't be here. A lot of people in my life that have helped shape me and provided opportunities for me to be where I am, and he's definitely one of them. I wouldn't be here without that opportunity.
Hey, Dabo, Gene Sapikoff from the Charleston Post and Courier. It was kind of a weird thing with Hugel. He was so good on the field goals this year, but struggled on the extra point. And now with, Lacob watching from home, I guess, are you a little concerned about that tomorrow?
No, we'll just roll with Hugel.
On your right.
Yep. Matt Connolly with the state newspaper in Columbia. Any update on the 3 suspended players as far as moving forward and what it means for their careers at Clemson? And then if you guys were to play in the championship game, do you know if they'll be available?
Yeah, none of those guys have all forfeited their opportunity to be with us for any postseason play. Am is a senior, so he's graduated already. And JJ is not a senior, but he'll have the opportunity to come back to school next week, and he's got a chance to graduate by the summer, and then he'll have opportunity to move on. If he wants to play somewhere else next year, he'll have that opportunity to do that, but he won't be back with us at Clemson. Dion will have opportunity to come back to school and rejoin the team at some point if he grows up and does what he needs to do. If he doesn't, then he won't. So it's really pretty simple.
On your right, in the back.
Coach Swinney, both quarterbacks are so good at escapability. James Hale from Sports Talk 1400, the ref in Norman. Talk about the goal of trying to contain Baker and his ability to keep him from just making plays on his feet outside of the pocket.
I'm open for any suggestions that you want to, share my way here. That's easier said than done. And same thing for them. Our guy, they're very similar in that regard, that they're both great creators with the ball in their hand. But Mayfield he's a tough guy. I mean, he's not a very big guy, but he is strong, especially with his lower body. Really difficult to tackle. You see a lot of people that you think have him, but they don't have him. And the biggest thing, somebody was asking me yesterday, what do you worry about the most with him? And you just look at the clock, and it's 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. He just extends plays, and you can't cover guys forever. And then there's a lot of plays where the defense really had him, to be honest with you. Whoever that opponent was, they had him. On the board, it looked great, but that guy still has to tackle him. And again, that's easier said than done. So he's a great football player. He's got great instincts for the game. He really understands all the nuances of their offense and what they do. But his ability to create really makes him special. So our ability to hopefully minimize that and make him, kind of play on schedule is going to be a key part of the game.
Dabo, it's Mark Bradley from Atlanta. You said that you felt confident the day you were named the interim coach, you were empowered. Was there ever a moment when you actually thought, though, what have I gotten into here? Am I ready for this? And just how much growth has it taken on your part to go from being the guy who was the interim coach to being the guy who's here today?
Well, yeah, there was a moment, and I've talked about that a lot, especially when I go and speak and give my testimony and things like that. It happened on a Monday, and I'm pretty sure I didn't sleep Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday was there was just a lot happening in a short amount of time, and I come to the office on Thursday morning. It was about 5:30 in the morning. I'd probably had about 2 hours of sleep. And just that Wednesday, one of the things that I had done is I had moved. Back then we were in a other building, and we were all on kind of this thoroughfare hallway, and everybody just kind of walks up and down the hallway. And I tried to stay in that office, but I realized after Tuesday that it just wasn't going to work. I couldn't get anything done, and so I'm going to move just what I needed down there left my stuff in there, but I didn't take what I need to take and just kind of set up in Coach Bowden's office, and where I could have a little bit of privacy to do some work. And so I moved in there like Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday night after practice. And so I come in on Thursday morning, and I don't know, I just was overwhelmed that particular morning. When I got up, I was exhausted, and it was dark, and I was driving to work, and I always pray when I go to work. And I just had a moment of just, man, like anybody, just, this what I don't know if I can do this. I mean, I was just worn out and emotional and all those things, but I'll never forget it, because and it's just how I live my life, and it's how it just speaks to what I believe in. But I pulled in the parking lot, and I'd never parked over in Tommy's spot, obviously. I always parked down on the left and would walk into the office, but so I pulled around because I had a key right there to that door. And when I pull into the parking lot, and my lights hit the curb, and the curb lit up, and I had just prayed all the way to work that morning driving for just wisdom and confidence and clarity, and my lights hit the curb, and the number 88 lit up on the curb in that particular parking spot, and that was really the last moment for me, and because it was just kind of, to me, that was my college number, and it was just like God was just kind of tapping me on the back, putting his arms around me and saying, hey, listen, I got you. You're right where I want you to be, and don't doubt that. Let's just keep moving forward. And so I called my wife when I got in that morning to let her know that, and I really didn't have any doubt. I just got my mind back on what he called me to do and went back to work. So outside of that moment, that's really it.
Hi, Dabo.
Hey.
Kirk Bowles from the Austin American-Statesman. Baker Mayfield, as you know, transferred from Texas Tech to Oklahoma, had to sit out a year and lost a year of eligibility. Do you think players ought to be able to transfer one time from another school to another school and not have to sit out and be able to play immediately?
I think if you graduate, you can do what you want to do. If you don't graduate, no. I think that the rules that we have, are good as far as just That's from that standpoint. But I do think if guys graduate and want to transfer, I think that's the objective, is to graduate, and or at least it should be. So that I don't have a problem with.
Dabo, Dean Blevins, CBS Oklahoma City. We've heard a lot this week about the quarterback's ability to run, but Deshaun as a thrower, can you discuss that? And is the long ball his long suit?
Yeah, well, he can make all the throws. He's very accurate, whether he's throwing a slant route, which is a tight window on the move, a timing play, or he's throwing an over-the-top, type of a ball downfield, or a back shoulder, stop them in their tracks type of a throw. He's very accurate and very gifted in making all the throws. So, but he does throw, a beautiful deep ball. There's no doubt about it. He's not all guys can do that, but he has the ability to really assess the situation, as far as the technique of the defender and where he is he underneath, over the top, how the receiver is executing his stem and release, and he can put the ball where it needs to be. He's special. He's a special, thrower.
On your left here.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Bill Rhodes of the New York Times. I have two quick questions. The first is, there's been a lot of talk about who gets to be a head coach in a big-time college football, and I wonder what your suggestions could be. You came in without a lot of pedigree that you made on your. What would be your suggestions to maybe a player on your team who's clearly not going to be an NFL player, but who wants to be you at some point, doesn't necessarily have a lot of connections? What would be your suggestion?
Well, just, go to work, and you got to start somewhere, and then what I said earlier, whatever it is that you do, just be great at it. And that's kind of what I tell young coaches all the time. People say I don't have a pedigree, but I spent 13 years at Alabama. I coached there for 8 years, and had a bunch of good players, recruited a bunch of good players there, and played there 5 years, played on a national championship team, walked on, earned a scholarship. Nobody's going to, for me, nobody gives you anything. That's kind of what I try to teach, is you're not entitled to anything. If you want something, go get it, but your actions have to align with what you want. There's no shortcut. You just gotta go to work, and then you gotta be good at whatever it is that you're doing. If you're the last GA on the ladder there, man, be the best last GA in college football. You just bloom where you're planted. And, not everybody is going to be the head coach at Clemson. But that really shouldn't matter. It's just about being your best at whatever it is that you're doing. And how you treat people and how you live your life. Those are the things, to me, that, should matter more than, I hope to be a head coach one day. But I'd probably still be at Alabama, to be honest with you. I loved my job there. They finally said, you got to go. And so I left. And I got out of coaching for two very short seasons, and got into the business world and enjoyed that. But I knew that coaching was what I was called to do. And Clemson gave me an opportunity to get back into coaching. And so I was excited about that. And I was an assistant for 5.5 years at Clemson, and loved my job there. Loved my players, just was focused on being the best that I could possibly be. And, I was 38 years old when I got put into this situation. And same thing, I wasn't focused on this. I was just trying to be the best coach that I could be. And it's like, kind of speaks to what I said earlier. You don't ever know who's paying attention. And it's the networking, it's the relationships along the way. Again, doing things the right way. Ultimately those things will mount up. The decisions, life's about decisions that you make. Always has been, always will be. And especially those decisions when you're younger. Especially this critical time that we have with our players, because it affects you down the road. That's what we try to teach with our guys. But for me, I got the job when I was 38, and I was still a very young coach. I'm 46 now. I'm still a young coach, but I've had a lot of experience now at being a head coach. It's not something that you go to a seminar and get. I mean, you can train and prepare, and I feel like I did a good job of that from the day I got into coaching in preparing for an opportunity to one day be a head coach. But until you do it, you know, it's the real thing is a lot different than the simulator. So, you know, certainly have grown in that aspect a lot over the last 7+ years.